Hey guys! Yes, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm good. It's been a crazy past couple weeks, and I'm sorry that I haven't really been updating, but after you hear my story, you probably understand. But yes, Emma is here. She's beautiful. She's amazing. I love her to death. But first, before I introduce her, I would like to go through my labor and delivery story with you guys. It was a pretty intense story, and still living it right now. So, to start, on April 27th, which was 2 weeks ago, Chris and I went to the hospital to drop off my 24-hour urinalysis. And after like 2 hours of waiting, the nurse finally came back and was like, we're going to induce you, or the doctors decided to induce you because your protein was elevated from last time. And by elevated, I thought it was just, a little bit, and it was actually 1.5 grams. So, 1,500. So, I did develop preeclampsia, and once they got me into a room, they put me on Cervidil, and the Cervidil, I was a centimeter and a half dilated, and about, I think she said 70 to 80% effaced. So the Cervidil got me to 4 centimeters, and did put me into labor, gave me some really good contractions, but then I kind of stalled, so they did put me on Pitocin as well. While I was on the Cervidil, I was on it for about 9 hours, and finally I decided to get an epidural because the contractions were right on top of each other, and I just wasn't getting any type of rest at all. And it wasn't the intensity of the contractions, it was just that they were right on top of each other, and it was terrible. And let's see, I was able to, during this time that I had the Cervidil, I was able to get up and walk around and use the labor ball, and just kind of do my own thing. But once I reached 4 centimeters, or active labor, they put me on the magnesium sulfate, and they put me on a catheter. And so before they did that, I requested the epidural. Figured if I'm going to be stuck in bed miserable, might as well be kind of numb. And epidural was amazing. And let's see, I slept a little bit, but not very much. And I got the epidural at 3 a.m. I got the Cervidil at 6 p.m. on April 27th, and I got the epidural at 3 a.m. on April 28th. And let's see, at 6 a.m. they started the Pitocin, and the Pitocin was really intense. I realized that I was able to start feeling the contractions, and only in one part of my pelvis. So I told the nurse, hey, I could feel these, what's going on? And they did like the spinal check, or whatever it is that they do with the wet alcohol wipe or the pinpricks and stuff, and they're like, oh, well, it looks like it's working. I told them, no, it's not. I'm dying here. Everything was not numbed, but without pain, other than my right pelvis. And so finally, she called. Well, no, this is actually before. Well, okay, before this, the doctor came in, and she broke my water at 7 a.m. and I was still at about 4 centimeters, a little more effaced, and so after she broke my water was when the contractions got even worse, and then I started feeling them more. So then that's when I called the nurse, and she called the anesthesiologist, and he said the best thing to do is just get another epidural. So even though I really didn't want to, because as great as the epidural was, it really scared the crap out of me, because they're like, don't move, don't move. But I ended up getting one, and it was amazing. It totally worked. Turns out that my first one was only in a few inches, or a couple inches, and they're supposed to be in about 6 to 8 inches, I think. So it wasn't even in all the way, and that's why it wasn't working. So yeah, so I took a nap, and I got the second epidural at about like 1 o'clock on April 28th, and I took a nap, and I woke up, and the nurse was in the room, and I was like, gosh, I really have to poop. I really have to poop. And she's like, well, the only thing I could do is give you a bedpan. And I was like, great, you know, because I was confined to the bed with the Foley catheter and the magnesium sulfate, and also the epidural. So she brings me the bedpan, and I'm trying to go, and I'm like, there's nothing going on here, like there's no poop there. And she's like, you know what, let me check you. And she checks me, and I'm fully dilated. So in 1 hour, I went from 4 centimeters to 10 centimeters, and I slept right through it. Thank God for epidurals. Let me just say that. Let's see. So, and of course, this was right at a shift change. So she's like, let me go get the new nurse, and she'll start pushing with you. And so we started pushing, and it was good, nice, slow progression of pushing. It wasn't like I was doing too much. It was just perfect, I think. I pushed for 45 minutes. So I guess it took me a while to get her down, but I thought it was great progress. And the nurse did too. She was like, you're doing perfect, and it was amazing. And the nurse told Chris to take a leg, and his plan was to be up at my shoulders, but he was savage, and he took my leg, and he was right there in the midst of it, and it was beautiful. With every push, I screamed my lungs out. It was, people say that pushing feels really good. Now, for me, pushing was pretty intense, and the only feeling good part was when she popped out. And let's see. So yeah, 45 minutes of pushing. The nurse called the doctor once the baby's head started to crown. So she called the doctor, and the doctor's like, I'll be there in 4 minutes. 4 minutes, he said. And he did. He got there like that. And he got in the room, and when he got there, I was working through a contraction. And then the next contraction, I pushed 6 times, and she was born. Unfortunately, I did rip, and that was terrible, or still is terrible. Second degree tears. So he had to stitch me up, and I guess I bled pretty good, which is another problem. So first, I had to deal with the preeclampsia, and not having the exact labor that I wanted. And then I was anemic going into labor and delivery. My hemoglobin was at a 10, and after I gave birth, it dropped down to a 6.7, and then after like 12 hours, it dropped down to a 6. So they gave me the option of a blood transfusion, and I took it. I was a little skeptical about taking it, just because of the very slim chance of catching a disease. But they made me do a blood pressure check to where I was laying down, sitting up, and standing up. And when I was laying down, my blood pressure was great. When I was sitting up, it went up a little bit. And when I stood up, it plummeted. It was like 90/50. And I was really dizzy, and I felt like I was going to pass out. And I told them, okay, give me the blood. And I felt better. It was kind of a quick fix, but it didn't exactly do what I thought it was going to do. I thought it was going to bring me right back up to normal, and it absolutely didn't.